How's to work with a director like Ridley Scott?
Yeah, great. You know, what can I say? Blah, 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 blah,
Just
blah.
great.
Oh, yeah, blah, blah, you know.
What do you think is the impact of a director like Ridley Scott and movies like Blade Runner in our modern sci-fi movies?
It's awesome. It's terrible. It's, everybody who loves science fiction is looking at Blade Runner. It's like a wall they have to pass somehow, otherwise, and yeah, they have to make up their mind. You know, what their science fiction visuals are. Because the thing about science fiction is that everything has to be created, nothing exists, because it's about another complete other time. But it's sort of like a costume film too. We don't know, we don't know that much about the past, but okay, we have paintings. But science fiction, you have to start with a real clean slate.
Everything.
Yeah. And that's why it's really hard. Yeah.
We cannot talk about Blade Runner without talking about your monologue, the iconic monologue in the rain. We know that you actually wrote it, and we want to know what is the inspiration behind it.
Well, when we were shooting the film, now and then really talked when we were at the wait, and then the one thing basically that we were saying is that if I kept saying, when the energy goes, and it's all about energy, you don't have a lot of time. And then in the last moments of Roy's on the page, he had like this monologue about high-tech stuff, and that it felt like it was in the wrong place. It was too late. It was too technical, and I thought, what if he could say in one line, preferably, something about, what he will miss and what, Deckard is missing, but he doesn't know it, and then I had to find that one line. And there were two lines in the script that had some poetry to it and some vision from outer space. So I kept those, and then I added all those moments would be lost in time, like tears in rain. And that was it. And that's how it came about, and really liked it, and yeah.
Yeah. Would you ever imagine the importance that this monologue would have in the years later?
No, of course not. You don't do that. That's ridiculous.
You don't imagine that?
No. I mean, no. I'm not. I'm quite. I try to be as realistic as I can't fantasize about how successful I will be. I think it makes no sense. You have to just try and try.
Of course.
And then see what happens. But if an audience carries you for 35 years or something, when was it, 81? Because of this film, and that's what's happening to me. I mean, I feel that the wings of Blade Runner literally carry me around. It's just unbelievable and beautiful.
Of course.
Yeah.
I cannot ask you about Blade Runner 2, okay? You said that you think he might be great because Denis Villeneuve is a great filmmaker, but you don't really agree with the idea of doing a Blade Runner sequel. Is that true? You said that.
Well, I somehow I don't really think it matters that much. It's you can look at it in different ways, and I know it's hard to make a good film, and it's certainly hard to make Blade Runner.
A sequel.
And I don't quite. I wouldn't be doing it because I would think you're digging a hole for yourself, and at the same time you're leaning on a film that is so strong as it is. Why can't you come up with another title? But I think that's all about money or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I think so.
It's about paperwork.
Probably.
Yeah, but you just have to. I guess you just have to. You never know. You never know. You can have a great script and it can turn out to be really stupid.
Course.
and then you can have a stupid script that can be
It turns
decent
out to
film.
be
That's
great.
that happens too. But anyway, so I don't know. I don't think my opinion is that important. I think an audience is smart enough to kind of make up their own mind.
To understand.
And that's the part I like. You know, I find that generalizations are too stupid to basically go on, and I think the younger audiences have seen enough, and they can smell a rat very quickly. So, you know, we've taught them. So, yeah.
What do you think is the best science fiction movies in the last years?
I have no idea.
You have no idea?
In the last,
I don't know, 5 years.
yeah,
like
I don't know.
the last great
I
science
don't
fiction.
think I've seen this science fiction film in the last 10 years.
You saw Morgan last night, the movie by Luke Scott,
Yeah,
Ridley Scott's
yeah,
son.
yeah.
What do you think about it?
I think it's better not to talk about it. I think, no, really, because I think it's a privilege that they have the film here. But I also think that it's, yeah, you have to, they said something about it, and I think I will pass on that one.
That's okay.
Yeah.
You work with Ermanno Olmi and Dario Argento. What is the difference between, if there is any difference, between an Italian director and any other
The
international
language.
director? Just that.
The language, yeah. You know, there's definitely a love affair going on with me in Italy, because a lot of the work, I've done more work in Italy than anywhere else. That's the funny part, you know. Lady Hawk, I started with Lady Hawk, but then worked with all these Italian directors. And so there's something going on, and then I did my, you know, my Starfish Association. I've been in my film festival for 4 years. So we really married. But the language was always like a ah la 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 la. You know, it can go wrong very quickly. And of course, you know, I think in my own country, the Dutch language is the same. It's like silly to make a Dutch film. Sorry. If you have a story that can go wide in just your own country, you should do it, you know. And Italy, you know, I did The Legend of the Holy Drinker. The idea was the United States of Europe, where you take material from the States,
Yeah.
and you take it from Italy and you put it out there. It just didn't quite travel, which is, you know, that's okay, but at least we tried. You know, I think it is one of those things. It's like, how different are you from you? What are you going to say? Each person is different. Of course, yeah, we're all the same, but then, but you know, what are you going to say? Nice, you were a nice girl. You were like, your favorite color is red. You were more la 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 la. What does that tell you? Nothing. It's just.
Just an opinion.
Yeah, it's just like. Of course, you know, I work with the greatest people, so I just never know how to answer it, but I think it's a stupid question. There are a lot of differences, in you know, no, but it's like people always, you know, is it black or is it white? How is it different in America to make movies, or in Russia? And you go, it's not that different, you know? And if you have to explain, it's like a different life that you're trying to explain,
Of course.
or a different personality. I don't know. I always have a hard time, you know, explaining who people are and how different they are. Anyway, I guess you need to have a soap opera for that.
Are you going to do it?
No. No.
Thank you very much,
Yeah.
Mr. Hauer. It's
Okay.
really been a pleasure.
Okay. Are you
Thank
sure?
you. Welcome, thank you for being with us. I'm starting with you, Mr. Nimoy. We saw your documentary, and you showed us many memories about your father, about him being Spock. But I want to ask you, what is your favorite memory? What would you say is the most representative, among all, the most representative memory you have about your father being Spock?
Besides being Spock? Or, yeah.
Being Spock. And then if you want to
Oh, being Spock?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Well, I think the greatest memory was when I was there on the set and in that little piece of film where I appear with him. When they cut my hair and they put the ears on me and he was in the captain's chair and I approach him and give him a kiss. That's probably the most memorable experience I had between myself and Spock. This is even before the series was on the air. This was July of 1966. This is 2 months before anybody even had seen Star Trek. So it was a very exciting time for me, and I was in love with the character and in love with the show. And I tell people I believe I may be the very first Trekkie or Trekker, and I'm very proud of that.
I like Trekkie.
Yeah, Trekkie, I do too. Yeah. So that's probably my favorite memory. But also, one of my favorite memories of being just with my father was when we sometimes would be on the street and people would recognize him. There would be so much excitement. And it's always so interesting to see people who are just walking along the street and they see him and they're just like, right away, they're excited. And he was always very good with the fans, and it was a really wonderful experience to see that.
In the documentary, we see Zachary Quinto that plays Spock in the modern saga of Star Trek.
Mm-hmm.
And he said that his Spock is really different from your father's Spock.
Yeah.
But he really never said what the difference is. What
Mm-hmm.
do you think is the difference between Zachary Quinto Spock and your father's Spock?
Well, I think Zachary and the writers are finding new territory to explore for Spock. I think particularly what he's alluding to is the most obvious thing is this relationship he's having with Uhura in these movies. It's showing that Spock is capable of having this kind of intimate connection, this love affair, if you would, with a woman and on the ship, and that's very unusual. That's very new and different. But as Zachary has pointed out, there are still constraints. He's still within the aura of being a Vulcan. That's still a part of him, and he still has limitations. He's still half human, half Vulcan, and because of that, it's a very special, different kind of relationship than what we would normally see. So these are the kind of things that, and I hope they explore more. I think there would be more for him to kind of like look into and to challenge himself and to find new territory to explore as Spock. I think there's more things, and I think my dad agreed with this, and I think this is sort of JJ's mission, is to find more challenges for Spock that might be different than what we've seen in the past.
Of course. Terry? I want to ask you, what is your most vivid memory about Star Trek Deep Space Nine? The memory that you think it's the most important of your experience? Just one.
Just one.
Just one. Two if you want to.
Well, I first have to try to weed out to pick one. Wow. The most important experience, I would have to say that I would have to pick the episode Rejoined, because it was when I was confronted with dealing with the relationship of a wife I had widowed when the Trill was in a man, Tobin Dax, and he was a little reckless. He was a fighter pilot, or he was a test pilot, pardon me, and even though his wife very much didn't want him to go on this mission, he went anyway, and he widowed her. And imagining having to fight how many regrets he wanted to express and how much love he wanted to give back to her that he couldn't. I think it was really important that mirrored a gay relationship for a lot of people, even though in the story that's not technically what it was, but the story really illustrated for all of us that the most important thing isn't the package you come in, but the love you have for someone.
Of course.
And Jadzia couldn't fight that passion and love that Tobin Dax had for this woman. So it was a beautiful story. It's almost more painful to have space from it to tell the story, to imagine that kind of love.
That's a good memory.
Yeah, and an important story for a lot
Yes,
of people to
very
feel
much.
Accepted.
Very much. It's a really important issue. You played a strong female character in Star Trek Deep Space Nine. What do you think in the last movies, the modern Star Trek, is the most important female character? Like a good example for women and girls?
I don't feel like I've really kept track of the series that came after mine or the movies, other than to enjoy them. I don't analyze them quite the same way you do. I really enjoy the acting. I love seeing J.J. Abrams' vision and all the actors that are a part of that, because I like being a part of something that's never going to die. It's perpetual hope and love and reinventing itself, like Zachary Quinto's character of Spock, reinventing different, same qualities, different ways to look at it creatively.
This is a question for both of you. What do you think is going to be Star Trek future? How do you imagine it? Who wants to say first?
Oh my goodness.
Her deepest imagination.
My deepest imagination. No pressure. No pressure. I don't know that I could come up with that at the moment. I think it's ever evolving, and I hope that what it evolves to is something out of my grasp right now, because it's exciting to see how young people come in and what they have information that we've all had, and then they have new stuff to come with. My son is about to turn 13, and he sees the world in a way that I can't see it, because he came in with so many tools that I didn't have. And so I hope that he's going to imagine a future that I couldn't see without him showing me.
Well, we hope that Star Trek will continue. We have a new series coming out, and there will be more movies, I'm sure. Hopefully they'll stay true to the original vision, I think, of Gene Roddenberry, that where we will survive as a human race, and that we will continue to work together to explore strange new worlds and work for a common good. And I think that, the message of Star Trek has always been that so many diverse aspects of our planet and interplanetary species can come together to work together for a common goal, for a common good. And I believe that's probably what the mission will continue to be. I would hope that that's what it is, because we have so much conflict in our world. It's such a relief to know that that there are things that we can work together without conflict on. And I think that the space program we have now going is so interesting, because there are so many countries involved with working on the space station, working towards the Mars mission. Even Russian cosmonauts are working hand in hand with American astronauts, which is so inspiring. And I think that's kind of what the theme of Star Trek is all about, is coming together.
Of course. You're working on a documentary about Star Trek Deep Space Nine.
Mm-hmm.
What can you tell us about that? Any spoiler?
Well, we're just starting. I mean, this is something that's been in the process with the producer on my film, has been working on it for a couple of years now, pulling together the material. Now we are really getting to the point where what the challenge is going to be is what is the shape of this film and how is it unique. I am just now starting to get involved with them to help them. Ira Stephen Bear, who was an executive producer on Deep Space Nine, and David Zapponi, who is the executive producer on this documentary, we are right now just starting to look at all the material to make it, to try to get an idea of what is the theme, what is the story we're going to try to tell about Deep Space Nine, why is it unique, and why would it be of interest for people to see this film. So we're still in the very early stages. I am now just catching up, watching episodes, seeing all the episodes, enjoying seeing Terry in episodes that she was in many years ago, and getting to know Terry on that in that kind of way. It's very exciting because the show is very good. It's very interesting. It's a really good, strong ensemble cast. I mean, the acting, the performance work is outstanding, and the writing gets better and better as the seasons progress. So it's still very early, but we hope to be back here next year with a finished film to share with all of you.
Let's hope so. One last question. Mr. Nimoy, are you going to be involved in the next Star Trek films?
Oh, no, I'm not. No, that's not. I've never really been involved, and they're making this new series now, and it's not something that I would be interested, but they have their own people, and they're well on their way, and they certainly don't need me. Nicholas Meyer, who directed Star Trek movies and wrote Star Trek movies, is involved with the new series, and I'm looking forward to seeing it. And being, and watching it along with everybody else, but at the moment I would not necessarily be participating now.
It was worth asking. Thank you very much for being with us, and enjoy the rest of the festival.
Thank you. Thank you for having us. Bless you.